me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments.
Now I've got another segment of criminals that are attorneys and or judges. So you want to sit in for this one. And this segment is about an attorney and a chancellor, which is another word for a judge, and chancery court. I don't know what all this chance, soap opera, but the deal is with that. But that's the deal. And we're going to let people know what time it is with Stephen T. Bailey and a couple of his constituents, or co-workers, if you will, not constituents. Before I jump into it, the description of the video is a link tree that I've taken some of the links to the platforms that we're on, including my Substack, where I have written extensively about corruption, government programs, their tactics, people behind it, and have also given voices to the voiceless, those that have been rendered voiceless by these people in positions of trust and power. And we give them an opportunity, and the world opportunity, to know what has been done to these American citizens, and at least allow their story to be told. We can further expose abject corruption in this country. I've said it before, and I've said it a million times, folks, that the biggest bridge, or the most important bridge, for a person that is having trouble and that needs to be addressed through a judicial process, is an attorney. These corrupt programs, community-oriented policing, it all falls under that umbrella. So they work together, a holistic approach to policing, meaning everyone doing their part in the scheme of things. Attorneys, judges are no exception to the rule. Lady Justice, that is, being blind is BS. So you know it, I know it. We're in a true two-tiered system. The rules and the laws that apply to us, and the rules and laws that apply to them. Now, the Constitution does not allow for that, but through mumbo jumbo and criminality, they make that work. They make it happen. And this is no different with Stephen T. Bailey as a chancellor, someone that's sitting on the bench making decisions on who they can and can't have the property that they own or they don't own, or better yet, making decisions about children that have somehow got hung up with Child Protective Services, which, by the way, lose 300,000 children a year. And these children are often ripped from homes, they're good homes, and then they put this rigorous bull crap of having to jump through hoops to get their children back or whatever. The families and parents and the children are being abused, folks, in mass in this country. More than just a broke system, it's a very corrupt mechanism that is responsible for child trafficking in America. It couldn't be made possible if you didn't have complicit attorneys and judges to make sure this beautiful plan worked. Because CPS plays a valuable and central role in community orgasmic policing as they take and leverage children to do the bidding for Satan himself and every community in this country. Now that's the facts, ladies and gentlemen. So recently, 77-year-old James Moody filed a writ of habeas corpus. And that's where a person is suing another person because something is being done that is contrary to their well-being or contrary to the law, and both, especially if they're being held or incarcerated. Now, he filed this emergency writ of habeas corpus through his common law wife of 8 years, and she acted on his behalf as his advocate with an excess of over 100 telephone calls to her about his mistreatment at Lee County Jail and how he has been manhandled, has had a stroke, his blood pressure remains over 200 over something, has cancer, passing blood, and on and on and on. It's a serious issue, ladies and gentlemen. That jail has a nurse. They are not equipped to handle someone that in that state, the health in the state it's in. They know it. And so that was the writ of habeas corpus. And I want to tell you, these things are taken, should be taken very serious. But Stephen T. Bailey in these back smoke-filled rooms, this is where they decide which citizen is afforded a due process and which citizens don't get a due process. They make that. It's not their job to make that decision. And now I'm going to tell you, folks, if you're ever thinking about, if you are in Chancery Court in Lee County, Mississippi, then you need to take this to the bank, what we tell you. In short order, Stephen T. Bailey will have he'll be a proud owner of a Brady complaint that will outline his infractions as a Chancery Court judge and attorney and his behavior. And this Brady report is and can be used as exculpatory evidence if you ever find yourself in a courtroom and he's in the picture, and that's the time to pull that out and show the court and show everybody that this person, the judge, is here under presumed idea of integrity. And as we can see, he has no integrity. And integrity is like virginity, ladies and gentlemen. Once it's gone, it's gone. So I've looked at the things that were filed by and what I went line for line. And I'm not an attorney, but I don't have to be an attorney. And I want y'all to hold on to that. Nowhere in any law, the Constitution of the state of Mississippi or the Constitution of the United States of America, does it state or even imply or vaguely suggest that a person can only have due process and exercise their constitutional freedoms if they have an attorney. But somehow Stephen T. Bailey managed to drag that into argument that had nothing to do with anything other than he wanted to flat out deny a petition without hearing it. And we believe that there is some other things in the woodpile here, and that is coming, folks. And that's going to be we're going to talk about another judge that are they complicit with drug trafficking and all types of vice when there's profit to be made, and when the profit margin slim, are they not complicit with it? Because Jacqueline Mask is right square in the middle of that conundrum, and so is Mr. Moody. So I think that what they're not saying speaks loud and clear what they want to say. You see, if they don't like a person, whatever, instead of doing what they're supposed to do, when there's an obvious conflict of interest, they should recuse it. But they don't. They're not supposed to get in Stephen Bailey's ear and make sure that Stephen Bailey sets himself up for all the things he's going to be getting out. A bar complaint, a Brady complaint. And I'm going to tell you, I'm satisfied that these individuals that are preparing this appeal to the Mississippi State Supreme Court, it's not going to look pretty, Stephen. So, I don't what y'all going to do about that? But I can tell you this. This is what it looks like, folks. This is how justice is not served in the dirty South, or served. This is how they do it, and this is why we expose these criminals that are lawyers, okay? Because they're the ones that make these false convictions and all these other things. They're the ones that people keep dying in these jails. Nothing's ever done, okay? But, well, you can't get anybody. Y'all know this. Well, you get somebody gets the hell beat out by a lot. They can't get a lawyer. I can't get a lawyer. We have this, can't get a lawyer. Well, there's a reason you can't get a lawyer. They'll tell you that. All I do is do lawsuits for roosters. Then it'd be something. But the bottom line is they're saying we're down with the deal. We're all on the same team. If you don't think they're on the same team, then you're confused because they are. Okay. Now, this is absolutely. So they could care less about the children that come through that court or the elderly, and this is proof, lock, stock, and barrel. Okay. This shows the full character of Stephen T. Bailey that graduated, I think, in Southern Miss. And that's if you're in central Mississippi, and that's the closest thing that somebody from South Hill will ever get to Ivy League school. That's all he got. And he's a Chancery Court judge. That's going to be about it. Where we go from there. That's it. He's hit the ceiling. And that's a damn low bar. So, Chancellor Stephen T. Bailey is the first Chancery Court, District Court of Mississippi, and he denied a motion of writ habeas corpus from James Moody through his common law wife and advocate, Gerald England. The request in this writ habeas corpus was an emergency writ of habeas corpus due to life-threatening medical neglect inside of Lee County Jail. We covered a lot about Lee County Jail from people getting beat to death, from death and everything else. And so it's not as if Bailey is not fully aware that that's not a medical facility. They don't give a shit, okay? They don't give a shit. Folks, that's the kind of judges we need in there. Somebody that's proven, without a shadow of doubt, that they can't be, there's no way that they could ever contemplate a non-biased opinion about anything. I wouldn't have him here jaywalking ticket because it'd be a toss-up. It would be a toss-up. He's gonna side with whoever he likes, and we know who that is. Okay, so that's called the cards being stacked against you, ladies and gentlemen. So if a criminal with a badge or anything to do with it violates you, lies about your children, any of those things, you get in front of this judge that you wasting your time and all that stuff because he's gonna roll in their favor. He's not listening to anything else. And to think that somebody had to go to school to be able to do that. I mean, so what the Golden Eagles gave him, but it's a pitiful shame. So Moody did file a legally sound emergency petition for a writ of habeas corpus, which is a civil proceeding, and Chancery Court is the proper venue. That's not something in question. It's not something in question. But just to make sure that he got this emergency hearing that he has not got, and his health continues to deteriorate as I speak right now. May not live, it's a possibility. They took him out to the hospital one time, and the doctor said he's not going to make it in jail in his condition. It's had strokes, all this stuff. It's not, and they throw him against the wall and drag his ass, and he complains that his ears are ringing. He can't feel the left side of his body. Only know. This torture and this abject denial of medical attention is absolutely deplorable and appalling that a judges would plot to deny a citizen based on what they perceive as some type of procedural or something else. They first tried to force his advocate to pay $146, and if she paid $146, then she couldn't file a writ of habeas corpus. But that's illegal as well. I said that's illegal. But these are the things that he didn't bring up in the deal, but these things are going to be brought up. And I'm quite sure that they'll have the full whiff of the aroma when they get served Monday. Okay? And so they have the weekend to figure out what kind of lie they going what they want to do, what they going to tell the Supreme Court. And that doesn't really matter. That really doesn't matter. It's that the United States District Court for Northern Mississippi and Oxford that they really need to concern themselves with. That also is in the works. And folks, I guarantee you, everything I'm telling you, that is what's coming down the pipe. And so it was an emergency motion for immediate relief. And based on those two things I just said, folks, that is prioritized. Writ of habeas corpus is prioritized as such, always has been, always will be, always should be. Not something that is delayed and put off and danced around like this judge did. And an advocate's sworn statement by his advocate, all citing, she decided an urgent medical crisis, over 100 attempts by Moody to get help from telephone calls and everything, and a demand for release or immediate medical evaluation. Either one. Like, well, you know what? Send him to it. Okay, you go to the doctor, we get a full evaluation. Not a trip to the emergency room. It's not a medical evaluation. Here's how Bailey decided he would deny such a simple request of someone that didn't want to die in a damn jail and has serious health issues. He weaponized, of course, the procedure. He weaponized procedure over substance. That's the first thing he did. Of what he perceived in the procedure. I understood that one of the clerks couldn't get past on the filing, but finally acted like to get past the filing fee. This couldn't get past it. Well, why is he in jail? And you know, and as I'm hearing it several times, I'm thinking, why is that person worried about why they're in jail? What the hell has that got to do with that writ of habeas corpus? Can anybody tell me? Well, nothing. She's just a nosy bitch wanting to know stuff. And when the bitch didn't get the answer she wanted, I'm sure that was the first strike on the deal because, you know, these bitches fought together. So, instead of reviewing the facts, that sufferings, the medical emergency, the cause, Judge Bailey obsessed over who signed the papers. He acknowledged Moody was in jail and suffering. But because his common law wife signed on his behalf, he dismissed the petition as unauthorized. Really. Common-law wife, upon his direction, performed these duties for him. He refused to even hear the case on its merits, of course. Now, folks, so far, what he's done, he's violated Mississippi Code 11-43-1, and that allows a writ to be filed by someone on his behalf. Okay? Bailey ignored that. Instead, he claimed Cheryl needed to be a parent or conservator. Now, he thinks he's in kindergarten with kids and CPS and all that paperwork bullshit scam that they're running on stealing kids and kidnapping. A made-up limitation not found in the law. So what he cited in his dismissal was something, it was, he put it in there, but what he doesn't expect is that he's thinking at this point, okay, they've got a perfect petition here. How am I going to poke holes in it? I'm going to do it by just citing some mumbo jumbo, but not going to be in the law books. But because that's we're going to shut him out. Right, leave us alone. He's going to stay in here and die in jail. We'll give it out. But sometimes, Stephen, it doesn't work out like that, okay? And I promise you, this is it. This is it. I'm going to make sure with the other people that are involved in this that, let me tell you, not on my watch are you or anybody else going to kill somebody or let somebody die because you are some narrow-minded, prejudiced, bigoted asshole in some kangaroo court, okay? And you think you have arrived. You didn't make it and couldn't make it in private practice. You work for us, the people, okay? That check is cut from the same place that cuts the welfare checks. That ain't no difference. You are working for the public. You ain't serving no damn body. Your own self-interest by dodging and skating around the law because Jacqueline didn't want you to do it. Is that what it was? But because Jacqueline's in this deal now. Jacqueline's all over this deal. That's got to be what it is. And will Jacqueline testify under oath that none of these things y'all have that conversation in federal court? I'm just curious about this, okay? Because unless people like Moody take these people like you by to task, we won't have any freedoms left. Thanks to people like you, we're having to fight now for basic human necessities of getting to see a damn doctor when you're having a stroke. Okay, I hope I'm clear on that. So whatever else you're thinking of saying, you're not a doctor. You didn't entertain any of that. Then you attacked his son-in-law wife, Cheryl, personally. Rather than addressing the facts, you attacked her character. You never met her. You did nothing about her. You accused her of unauthorized practice of law. Based on what? Based on what? Based on the slick ass comment that your nosy ass clerk asked, what's your bar number? You have to have a lawyer to do this. You see, folks, here in the dirty South, they want to keep, they believe that they're this upper echelon of intelligence, that the only possible way that you get to court, you've got to have a lawyer. And because that's what it says in the law. No, it doesn't even apply. It doesn't even hint to that. Nowhere. If they like to believe, well, anybody that has that she's all right is a fool for a client, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, nobody wants to hear anything from a bullshit artist at Chancery Court, Lee County. And because if you are going to want to talk about you trying to be a lawyer, why are we talking about why he's in jail, secretary, or why are you trying to be a lawyer? Never mentioned you think he'll live past lunchtime today. We don't give a shit because it ain't about that. It's about you not doing your damn sworn duty. Now, how can anyone expect you to rule fair on the bench based on the law when you've already proven, you've proven it here, that you will say and do anything and damn what the law says? I'll make it thick and fluffy as hell. But let me tell you what, that bullshit will not pass the muster when it goes up the pike. Okay? You get real people that have really gone somewhere with their careers. We're not going to think any of this shit is humorous. Okay? It's a downright, you absolutely should be disbarred. You get a job working at the mall or something. What you possibly do? Because I don't know what else do you do? I mean, it's just I can't imagine. Maybe you got some thoughts on it. First, I'll give a shit. I give a shit about what you would do. In fact, you give a shit about an American citizen, a citizen of the state of Mississippi, 77 years old, dying in a county jail, and you won't even look at it. You don't have nothing to do with it. Why is that? Why is that? Why would an impartial do that shit? Okay, let's see. Well, so you said claims you pretended to be an attorney. Damn lie. You lied when you said that and signed that lie. Okay. Referred her for a criminal prosecution to the Lee County prosecutor. We can't wait to see how far that goes. Okay. Let's see if Neely is going to run with that damn ball. I promise you he's not. Okay. That ain't going to happen. So other than, so you're running a boo game. You make an insulting threat to somebody that's trying to help her husband and keep him alive. And bitch, you talking about you trying to be a lawyer? I'm gonna recommend they arrest you. Folks, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Look, they support the Constitution and all. They took an oath, something similar to that. I want to tell you, I know past the bar ain't got nothing to do with the Constitution. I'll be lawyers of the courts and blah, blah, blah. And it's very little anything even imply about the Constitution. Because he has support the Constitution. Bullshit. Right now, these people that's hearing this, man, shut him up. We hate the First Amendment free speech. Damn that. You're supposed to go up until the point it's something that gives you the red ass. Okay? Because all the other things in the Constitution, you got a son of a bitch in there with a robe, violating them on purpose, not mistakenly. He intentionally took several days, a week, on an emergency filing, a week, to write up a horseshit denial. Okay? Wow. Let's see, what else did he say? Then he banned her from filing future emergency petitions. You know what, Stephen Bailey? You don't have the authority. They've not a judge in this country got the authority to ban an American citizen from exercising their constitutional rights. Okay? So that's about the most preposterous bullshit that I've ever seen on a court document. You not only told him you wasn't going to hear the writ, didn't give a shit if he died. That by God, if you no longer allowed to even try to exercise your rights. And folks, let me tell you, what court in the land does love get your hand on this? Have no fear, dear, because all that stuff is in the pipeline. Okay? And trust me on this one. He got the right one. He got the right one because the old man has been very clear about how this and what is going on in his treatment, and it's very clear about the committed position that this should take. So we're going to put all the cards on the table. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things that maybe most of y'all did not know about. We're going to make sure you know about it, okay? Remember, there's two sides to every story, okay? And of course, it was pure retaliation. The petition never claimed that she was a lawyer. It was the language that was used in the petition. Advocate for James Moody, common law spouse, acting under emergency necessity. That was the language. But he said, you're trying to act like you're putting yourself off as a lawyer. Now, y'all heard what I just said. Did any of that sound like she said, I'm a lawyer? When it said the furthest thing from that in the petition? Okay, that's why we're having this show today. So, of course, Bailey deliberately twisted her title to try to criminalize advocacy. See, when you try to take a stand for what's right, like I do, and expose corruption, they want to shut you up and lock you up, and they can't do it fast enough. And I'm living proof, ladies and gentlemen. I'm living proof that they hate God, they hate the Constitution. I can prove that in any court. I can simply take their own words that they've written and signed their name to and make the case. They can say whatever they want to. Bailey can say whatever the hell he wants to. But guess what? What he put his name to, what he wrote, is what we're going with. Damn, what he meant. We figured you meant what you said. Are you saying you didn't really mean all that? That it's just a kind of a game, or what? What are you gonna say? Or you thought? In other words, you don't know the code, the conduct. You didn't know the law and the codes. You didn't understand it. Is that what you're saying? Because if you are, you're on the bench, and that's a big problem with it. Because you're supposed to know this shit. So I'd love to know what his next, what he's gonna do. Because I'm sure he's gonna mumbo and jumbo the state on this deal, on his if they're gonna hear it. Who knows what he's gonna say? But it's that point in the game when it's not gonna be. They don't give a shit about mumbo jumbo, because he's gonna be down going to mention with Sam's or Carnathan and try to get one of them to represent him, and we're gonna have to pay for it. Okay, and then a lot of money's going to be spent for a lot of lawyers to try to pilot high, deep, and wide the mumbo jumbo his ass out of the deal. Is all this necessary, ladies and gentlemen? No, none of it's necessary, or it shouldn't be. It should be as simple as we will give an American citizen due process his day in court, and not hinge on whether or not we can find some reason not to let him come into court. Which is exactly what Jacqueline Stephen T. Bailey Mask did. All right. He denied habeas corpus on technicalities. He invented. Bailey claimed that the writ wasn't valid because it wasn't notarized, signed by Moody directly, or filed in the right court. A lie, a lie, and a lie. Ain't none of that. It was the right court. And it's a caveat to that, ladies and gentlemen, that identical writ was filed in the circuit court. I'm just curious which one's the right court. In the state of Mississippi, for a civil matter, it was in the right court. Period. He gave a shit about the people and somebody dying in jail, he could have remedied all of those so-called procedural nuances that he claimed were present that weren't, but he did not. What he did was attack the victim and the victim's family. And when he's doing that, folks, he's attacking the integrity of our judicial system that has no integrity. He's attacking the threads of this country, the hundreds and thousands of men and women that died to give us those constitutional protections, those freedoms. That's whose grave he's spitting and stomping on. That's what he did. That's what he's doing. how will he defend that? Let's get some more God hate, Constitution hate people that get behind it. Because folks, he got it in writing. This I'm giving you the context of the content of his bullshit. He refused to acknowledge Cheryl and James as 8-year common law marriage. That never considered in the deal, which it is acknowledged as a legal, viable possession in the state of Mississippi. He knows that. That's what he acknowledged. Okay, make it work. But he couldn't make the law work any way other than putting his signature on it. And say, well, and get a lot of folks. Good luck with that. Okay? Knowing that school board system, etc. He claimed the Chancery Court had no jurisdiction, despite the Mississippi Constitution explicitly authorizing chancellors to hear habeas cases. He used circular reasoning, of course. The court can't help you. You didn't sign it right. Even though you did, I wouldn't grant it. Okay, so that's more the same there. He turned a civil filing into a criminal referral. So I filed a civil case, well, medical attention. He turned that into a criminal referral for them having the audacity to use their rights as a citizen, the courts, to help them, to give them relief, because that is the process, ladies and gentlemen. That is the process. So I'm confused. Do you want the people just to handle things the best way they see fit? Or are you going to be the one that sits on, you did the right thing? Or are you going to be the asshole that sits up and says, well, we got rules and processes and ways that you can't do it like that? Which is it? Because you're talking out of both sides of your face right now. He ignored all those things, and he said he referred her to the Lee County prosecutor, accused her of filing legal papers for another person without a license. They all based on what? They no law. This is shit he's pulling out of his robe or house dress, whatever he's wearing. Ignored the emergency to focus on punishment and intimidation of the victim. That's CBT bad. He enabled cruel and unusual punishment. If that was one of the arguments, that it rose to that, now it's certified that a judge made sure and enabled it. He did this by denying the petition and ignoring the evidence. Judge Bailey gave legal cover to the ongoing abuse in Lee County Jail. Moody is facing imminent death or disability without care. That's what the doctor told him at the emergency room when they did take him. And they said he ain't gonna make it in there. Did he contact? No, he didn't talk to him. We'll hear all that. Bailey refused to interview, even temporarily. His refusal violated the 8th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and Mississippi's own Habeas Corpus protections, Article 321. I am with some of that with this, folks. Stephen T. Bailey, you're a disgrace to the bench. On April 22nd of 2025, you slammed the courthouse door in the face of a dying man. You accused a common law wife of criminal activity for filing a desperate emergency petition. Folks, this is not 150 years ago in the Dirty South. This is last week in the Dirty South. Still doing what they've always done. They're still doing what they always done, ladies and gentlemen. Ain't nothing new. And y'all know it. He accused that common law wife of criminal activity for filing it. He ignored the Constitution, the cries for help, and the law itself. Instead of defending justice, it protected the system. The blood of Moody, if it comes to that, will be on that pen and the hand that signed that order. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. And we got it bugged here on the cover of this video. I encourage you to share, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I welcome your comments down there below. And you share it and share it relentlessly. It's shameful. And the more we sit back and allow these criminals that are running the show, and we just give them all the play they want. And folks, if there's anybody out there that has been abused and railroaded by the Chancery Court, not necessarily that one, but any of them in that court, let me hear from you. Because it's quite possible we want to tell your story, or at least tell the story of what he did or what they did and how you were mistreated, abused, and railroaded, or what have you. It's not a rare, but it is a common, a very common thing. And folks, I think that we, the people, need to bring the bullshit to a screeching halt. Until next time, God bless you.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely.